Hey everyone, welcome back to White Sparrow Living, Luke 12:6. I'm Wendy, and today we're doing some more Dollar Tree hacks, tips, and tricks for your home organization and pretty much just life in general. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome, and I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button down below, as well as the little bell right next to it so that you can be notified every time I upload a brand new video. And now, without further ado, let's get started. So one of the many Dollar Tree staples you can usually always find in every season are these big plastic bowls. They come in several different colors, but something I've found is that they have this little ridge all the way around the top. And if you go to the kitchen aisle, you can almost always find the splatter lids that they have. They have the ones with the long handles, and then they have the ones with the knobs. And the ones with the knobs nestle perfectly into that little ridge, so you can cover whatever yummies you have in your bowl so no pesties can get in there. And I like to keep a few of these bowls on hand, so when you bring food for a gathering, you can just leave it there and they're kind of just disposable. And you can see it fits nice and tight in there. And I was looking for something to fill my bowl, and Michael J had just cut up some cantaloupe. And how sweet is this? He always cuts my fruit in smaller pieces than his and then separates it. That has nothing to do with this hack, but I just wanted to give Michael J a shout out for that loving little act of service and know that it's very appreciated. Another idea for these big bowls is to use them for your popcorn, and if you grab a plastic paper plate holder, they come in packs of 4, but you can place one at the bottom of your bowl and then pour your popcorn on top. The paper plate holder doesn't go all the way down, and there's just enough of a gap in there so that all of the unpopped kernels and smaller bits pass through those slots and into the bottom. So I don't have to mess with that, and then I can just take the filter out and then pass the bowl to Michael J because those are his favorite parts. For this hack, I'm going to be using a Dollar Tree paper towel holder, a nylon zip tie, my scissors, and my beautiful but powerful ATHENA Lady Jane drill from NATALEE, a design to the nines. And if you have any deep drawers like I do here, I keep my dish towels in here. But if you guys know me, you know I don't like anything that's not super cutie patootie on my countertops. And here's a way to hide your paper towels. So I'm going to take out some of my dish towels, and then I'm going to measure using a full roll of paper towels. And I'm going to see where to drill a hole to attach my holder. I want to make sure there's enough room at the top and bottom and then in the front so that my roll can roll freely. And then using that zip tie, I'm just going to lock it into place as tight as I can, cut off the excess, and now I've got a little hiding space for my paper towels. And it's still super easily accessible. You can let it poke out of the drawer so you can pull the pieces right off of the roll without even having to open the drawer. And since mine is white on white, it barely shows. But then I'll scoochy all the stuff around it so I can still use my drawer. And when the roll's empty, I can just pull the holder up and replace it. And I don't know if you've ever priced a custom paper towel drawer, but we may just have saved hundreds of dollars. So I'm always looking for extra storage space, and if you take a gander in your cabinets, you might find some empty space at the very top. So here's a way to make the most of that valuable area. So I'm sure everyone puts the items that are least used on the upper top shelf, which for me at 4'11 3/4 means the second shelf and up, but those are the ones that are going to be used by Michael J, who is 6'3". So I'm having him take everything out of this cupboard, and then I had him move the little shelf pegs down to the very bottom holes and then replace the first shelf, and then he restocked those glasses so that we can see where to put that second shelf. And I had to kind of keep explaining what I was doing to him because he had no idea, but he just accepted my instructions and kept on working. But anyway, I was planning to use a shelf from one of the other cabinets, but all 3 of them are different sizes. So we ended up having to cut down an old shelf board that we had in the garage. Remember, it's not hoarding if you use it. And I just wanted to share that with you guys so that you don't just assume they're the same dimensions like we did. But now that we've got all of the goodies back on the shelves, I can now use that narrow opening to store my cutting boards. And I had to show you guys this. Our daughter-in-law, to hopefully be Maria, had this adorable little cutting board made for Michael J when they were here last. But anyway, I'm just going to pop these in there. And so I gained some extra storage and I can still reach my glasses. So in the Crafter Square of Dollar Tree, you can find different kinds of hook and loop tape, and I'm going to grab a few of the different ones along with some chip clips from the kitchen wall. Now I grabbed this roll, but I didn't realize that it wasn't self-adhesive, which makes this hack much easier to do. So instead, I'm going to use the one that is adhesive, and they come folded like this, but your best bet is to just read the package. So I'm going to use the fluffy side of the hook and loop tape and cut it down into little rectangles that'll fit onto the back of my chip clips. I mean, there's no front and back, but you make it the back because we're going to put that hook and loop tape on there. And I use 2 3-packs, so I'll have a total of 6 clips. And then I'll pull the backing paper off and adhere those to my chip clips, and then I'll take the other side of my hook and loop tape, the rougher side, and that's going to go in my pantry on this little teeny sidewall area that again is unused space. Right now we clip them to the side of our chip basket, but that's not very cute, and you can see we're completely out of chips at the moment. But I'm going to adhere that long strip to the wall here, and then I can stick my chip clips onto it and then grab them when I need to and put them back when they're not in use. And most importantly, we can always find them even though they're hidden and out of sight. So as you can tell, I'm a big fan of hidden storage. So for this one, I'm going to use this plastic trash can, which you can always find, and one of these plastic plates. These come in packages of 2. A piece of round styrofoam, like a disc thing, those are also in a pack of 2. And then one of these plastic plant trays, which come in a pack of 6, probably because they're so thin and flimsy. But I'm going to first take the sticker off of the bottom of my trash can, and I was going to use this round piece as my template, but this is from the top of a candle. So instead, I'm just going to use the inside of this duct tape roll as a template, and then I'm using my heat tool to melt the plastic, and I'll have this linked in the description box below as well as in my Amazon store. And I'm just going to make a hole, and this does take some time, but I thought it would make the edges a little smoother by using this method, but it really didn't. I'll address that later. So you could just use a craft knife or even a Dremel. Ooh, that would have been fun too. But anyway, and then I'm also going to use my wand to make 2 little holes kind of far apart so I can hang this. So to address those raggedy edges, I used some white electrical tape because it's stretchy and it's easier to curve around that circle. And then on the inside, I made little slits so it was adhered on both sides. Now none of this is going to show, so you can use duct tape or painter's tape, whatever you have, just to make those edges smoother, and you'll see why we need that in just a second. So then I glued a styrofoam disc into my planter dish, and it fits snug as a bug in a rug in there. And then I'm going to use this big greenery bush from Hobby Lobby. Of course, it was all dusty and icky, so I had to clean it up, but I wanted to use a nice full and drapey piece, and I wanted it to be attached to one big daddy stem. And then I trimmed that stem down a little bit to make it fit, and then used gobs of hot glue to glue it into the middle of my styrofoam. So now I'm going to hang this using anchors and screws, but the skinny wall where I'm going to put it is right against our kitchen window, so the lighting messes up my filming. So I'm just hanging it with some command hooks to show you how it's going to work. And once it's actually screwed in properly, it's not going to jiggle around, so I have to hold it as I'm showing you. But I'm going to put my grocery bags into my can, cover it with that plate, and that plate has a ridge in the perfect place so it stays put. And then I'll set my greenery on top of that, and now I have a hidden trash bag dispenser disguised as a pretty planter. And so, you know, the name of the game is hidden storage that's functional and pretty, and I think we hit it on both marks. So Michael J has been asking for something that tells us when the dishes are clean or dirty. So I'm using some scrap foam board, a Dollar Tree magnet, some grosgrain ribbon, and some scrap linen to make this. And I'm going to switch out the ribbon, but you'll see that later. So I used my utility knife to cut out a piece of that magnet so that my ribbon didn't keep the magnet from sticking to the dishwasher. And then you could just hot glue that on there, but I used a Dollar Tree glue dot because I forgot to turn my glue gun on. And these come in handy for when you just need one little dot of glue for something. And you just pull the little perforated plastic piece off of the backing sheet and put the dot where you want it. then just push it down and then pull off the plastic piece, and you've got some stickiness right where you need it. So these are always really helpful. So I got my ribbon attached, and then I covered my foam board with that linen, and before I glued it together, I made a little slit at the top so I could feed my ribbon through there, and then I'll flatten out that fabric with my teeny weeny little iron, and this will also be linked in the description box below for you. And then I'm going to fray those cut edges to match the sides of my pretty linen. And now that my glue gun is hot, I'll glue that onto the foam board. And then I used a black Sharpie to write clean on one side and dirty on the other side. And you can use your vinyl cutting machine for this, and the letters will stick to this fabric, or you could use your heat press, but it's just whatever your preference is. But here's where I decided to change out that ribbon, and it's super cute, but it was too wide and I didn't like how it twisted. So I ended up cutting it off, and then I added some jute twine instead. And to give it a little weight and some more cuteness, I added some white beads at the bottom. And now we can just twirl it around and show when our dishes are dirty and clean, which you would think would be easy to do, but Michael J wipes down those dishes pretty well before he even pops them in the dishwasher. That is a very good husband. So I made this Dollar Tree bin about a year or two ago, and I had a sweet viewer tell me about this hack. As you can see, there's icky lint residue left in the can when you dump it, and she said all you have to do is use a poo bag that she saw me label in a recent organization video to line these bins. So they fit perfectly in there. I did have to kind of stretch it a little bit at the top. I really loved this idea, so I thought I'd share it with you. And I'll have that video linked in the description box below. I am always so excited when the back to school supplies come out. Now is the time to get your rainbow colored binders for your home organization. Again, I'll have that video linked below, but I love all of these pretty pastel colors. So I picked up a bunch of these book bins, and I'm going to use them in the kitchen to organize our spice cupboard. And really, we're just making it pretty, but also if you're a shorty like me, this helps for the hard to get items in the back. Now you may have seen my pantry makeover video, and I have this awesome rack that I'll link below, but the book bins are the perfect size for these big spice containers, but I've already got a place for them, so I'm not going to use it for this. But I also wanted to show you some real life. You see the Tums up there? These are supposed to be in that jar, but there they sit. I did transfer them once I finished filming, but I took all of the spices and put them into my bins. You can organize them by spice type, but I didn't do that. I did it more by what fit better, but you could put all of your salts together, your spicy seasonings. You could do Italian seasonings, Mexican seasonings. I don't know, there's just lots of options. But I've been using my Dollar Tree wood signs as stair step risers, and those have been working just fine. But these fit perfectly in here and take advantage of that vertical space that's always just a waste. And I'm going to come back to these shelves in just a second, but I wanted to show you other ways you can use these bins. So Dollar Tree's adhesive line has kind of gone off the charts, but I'm using some of this super glue mounting tape. And you can see these book bins have a ledge that's wider on one side. It's for connecting them, I think. But I'm going to use that to attach my mounting tape, which is super stretchy and curvable when you pull the backing tape off. So I'm going to use this one on the inside of my appliance hutch cabinet door. Just make sure that wherever you place it, it doesn't hit anything like the shelf below or whatever's inside, and you can still close the door. And now I have a spot for our handheld mixer thingy and our smaller items that can get lost or make your cabinets look messy. These are also the perfect size for your foil and plastic wraps, but again, I already have something for mine. But if you don't, this is perfect. And you don't just have to use them in the kitchen either. I put one in my bathroom cabinet under the sink, and I can put my curling and flat irons in there along with my big brush, and that frees up some of the room in those super narrow bathroom drawers. So now back to our kitchen cabinet. I have these stackable clear containers, and these were pretty pricey, but again, I've got some extra space at the top. I could just lower that shelf, but getting to the ones in the back is a challenge no matter how tall you are. So when I went to Dollar Tree's container aisle, I found these super tall and skinny cereal containers, and I thought these would be the perfect solution, and they are. Now the label says they're cereal containers, and you could of course totally use them for that as well because they have the hinged openings on the lid, but I'm going to use them for beans, rice, egg noodles, whatever you want to put in there. That'll clean up your cabinet from all those little pesky bags and Ziploc baggies. Here I'm making my mom's famous noodle soup for the grandbabies, but you see how easy it is to pour right out of there. And instead of using the 70-11 stackables, you have a more clean and organized look without losing storage quantity because they're so tall and skinny, the exact opposite of me. And they're even tall enough for spaghetti and linguine, so I'm definitely going to have to go back and get some more of these guys. But since I only retain water these days, I need to be reminded of my daily activities, and here's a way to keep your week visually handy. I'm grabbing this framed week at a glance sign and some magnets, and they used to have the plain magnet discs, but all I could find were the ones with the pretty plastic covers on them, so I'll just have to take those parts off. So I used my weeding tool to pull the magnets out and then pulled the sticky stuff off, and then I pulled the goodies off of the back of my sign. But that method only worked on the first magnet, and the rest were really stubborn, so I had to use some cutters to break that plastic, and then I was able to get the magnets out, and then I used some permanent adhesive and some hot glue to adhere my magnets onto the back of the frame. And I'll use a total of 6 magnets so that it doesn't slide down and is snug as a bug in a rug. And you can use the little magnets it comes with for shopping lists, appointment cards, or love notes. And the dry erase pen is also magnetic, so you'll always have it handy. And these are my to-dos. I'm not telling you guys to go to church, but I mean, if you're receiving it, then by all means, go to church. So these are the little magnet discs I was talking about before, and this is a hack that our daughter Kennedy came up with. She added them to the back of a sign she made for my mom on her last day of chemo.
Look at that. You like that, Mom? Yay, we're all done.
So that was a happy moment, and Grandma loved her chemo finito sign. And garage banners and posters have always kind of been a big deal in our family, and these clippy magnets are another way to display them. This was a poster we made for Kennedy when she played high school softball. It was the only one I had handy, so this is not my best work. And my friend Erica came up with the wording, so we were the silliest mom fans. But anyway, I'm just going to clip these to the top and bottom, and if you have a metal garage door, you can place your perky message right there to greet your loved one when they come home. So I just stuck that hack in there because it also uses magnets, and I'm kind of just jumping around here. But back to the dry erase weekly calendar, I'm going to grab 7 frames, and for this project you'll want to make sure that the frames are completely flat, and I can use it vertically and I can use it horizontally. So I'm actually remaking this weekly calendar, and I had the original one in our black and yellow Parisian kitchen in our last home, but it was damaged in the move back in 2016. But I kept the daily inserts that I made from scrapbooking supplies. So I don't have these colors anymore, but I'll just show you how to do it and then use whatever colors work for wherever you're putting it. So I just pulled all the innards out, and these are for 4x6 photos, but that's because of the mat inside. So I'm just gonna tape the insert on top of the mat, and then you have a nice white border going around it. And then I'll gently pull off the kickstand. And then once I figured out the placement, I'll mark and glue my frames together with permanent adhesive and some hot glue and let that dry flat overnight. I looked for the picture of my original piece, but I could not find it anywhere. I'm sure it'll show up tomorrow. But my original one was more vertical than this one is, and I could not figure out how I did it last time. I actually had it on our refrigerator door back then, but I used the Command brand hook and loop strips. But this way is cute too, and you can just hang it right on the wall. So I've had these flexible bowl covers for some time, and they're really useful to cover your dishes as intended, which saves money on foil and plastic wrap, and they're dishwasher safe. But when I got these a long time ago, the pack included a soda can cover, which was gonna be my next hack, but apparently they don't have them anymore. And then to get into it, you just fold it back over to get into your yumminess. But I still wanted to share this. So I went onto Amazon to see if I could find something similar, and I actually found something better and I think longer lasting. This comes with 6 silicone covers, all different colors, and you can tell right away they're good quality and sturdier than the Dollar Tree ones I had. So we don't really drink sodas, but our grandkids do, and my sister-in-law Brandy loves her Diet Pepsi, so we keep a supply for them in the outside refrigerator. So Brandy happened to come over when I was filming this, so I had her open her soda can so I could show you this. And these are great to keep flies or gnats or whatever's flying around out of your drink, especially if you're outside. But my original hack was for my grandbabies who rarely drink the whole can. So you know how you usually find half-drink cans of soda all around the house, especially at a gathering. But if you write their names on them, you'll know whose is whose, and they don't get poured down the drain. So you guys know I am a label maniac, but I can't even tell you how excited I was to see these basket labels at the Dollar Tree. These are usually so expensive, even on Amazon, and to get 3 for $1.25 was just so exciting. I mean, you know, it's the little things. And you see there's some cardstock inserts that you can write on, or you can use your cutting machine or use the transfer method. And it's got the clip on the back so you can hook it onto your bins. So I would run and grab some of these right away. Now, if you do have a cutting machine, and since school is getting ready to start, there's going to be lots of things to put your baby's names on. Now, our daughter Christine doesn't have a cutting machine, and with 5 babies, I don't know when she'd be able to use it anyway. So I'm going to make 2 sheets for the 3 oldest ones in different sizes, and I used fonts to kind of fit their personalities, I guess. And then I made a sheet in white vinyl, and then the other one I'm going to do in black, and then I'll weed them all out. And this was definitely a labor of love, but she was so grateful to receive this. And I like weeding anyway. But then I put the transfer tape on it and got it ready to go and be used. And all she has to do is cut out whatever she needs and apply it. These are for their laundry bins. And so this is just another way to get ahead of the game for yourself, or as a sweet way to help a mommy or a daddy out with their home organization. And speaking of back to school, back in the day when I used to pack a lunch for our kids, I always tried to include a sweet message for them. And I actually used to do it for Michael J as well, but I'd always write it on their napkins. So I had our youngest, Kennedy, design a sheet of love notes that you can print out for free. There's some that have space for you to write your own note to them, but I think she did such a great job on this. I'll have this free printable link down below. But you can just print it out on your printer and then cut them apart and add your little note and then just pack it into their lunches. And every day they'll get a special bit of love and encouragement. And how about some love and encouragement for ourselves and to share with others? We're back in the school supply aisle, and just look how pretty these shelves are with all those happy colors. I'm going to grab a ring of index cards, and the covers weren't all that cute, but you know, we can fix that really quick. I have lots of Saints cards, and these were just the ones in my desk drawer. Most of them are from my grandpa's funeral in 1989, and I don't even remember why I had them out. But I just love the beautiful artwork on them. So I'm taking a scrap piece of Dollar Tree cardstock that I'll show you in our last project. And of course it fit exactly the width of the cover. And I'm just going to cut it down and punch a hole in it. And then I'm going to glue one of those pictures of Jesus onto it. And now I have a place to write scriptures or quotes that I want to remember or just read through. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me what Luke 12:6 is, and I thought I'd share it here. And it says, "Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies, yet not one of them is forgotten by God? Indeed, the very hairs of your head are all numbered." So that's just my message from Jesus to everyone watching, explaining how very loved and cherished every single one of you are to God. So a couple of months ago, I did another Dollar Tree hack video, and that's our adorable Kindle, aka number 4. But in it, I showed you guys how you can take 3 drawer organizing bins and attach them together using nylon zip tie. You just hook them through that metal mesh and then cut off the excess. And I used it for battery storage, and I was able to get rid of all that trash, and I could see how many I had. But I had 70 viewers tell me that because it was metal, it was no bueno. So I switched it to the felt bins that you can see in that video. But I loved my little rack so much, so instead I'm going to use it for my diffuser essential oils. And I heard a lot of different things that could happen by having them in that metal rack. But now everyone can rest easy because thanks to you guys, my batteries won't get drained, they won't leak, and I won't blow up. So in the Crafter's Square, I found these adorable little pin cushions, and originally these were going to become mushrooms for a spring tiered tray, which we'll have to wait until next year now. But I remember both of my grandmas always had these on their wrists when they were sewing, and that brought back some sweet memories. But I'm going to cut off the elastic band and hot glue it to the top of this little mason jar. And the glue didn't quite hit the bottom cover part, so I just pulled that out. And you could leave the lid silver, but I decided to paint mine with my moss chalk paint to match my craft room. And then I'm going to fill my jar with some sewing notions and a bunch of buttons. This was meant to hold the replacement buttons in the clear little packages you get when you buy something new, and it's, you know, it's attached to the tag. But I did some deep cleaning and threw all of mine out like 3 days before I came up with this. And see, that's why you just don't want to throw everything away. But then I'll take a pre-threaded needle and pop that into the cushion, and now if a button comes off, you've got a sweet little button kit ready to go, and it's pretty cute too. Okay, now all of my younger friends might want to look away from this hack. I'm going to grab this white locker bin and this light up magnifying glass. This time I'm using the Velcro dots, and these are self-adhesive, which again makes life so much easier. But I'm going to take the fluffy side and stick 2 of them to the back of my magnifying glass. And to make it easy to line up the 2 pieces, I'll put the other sides right on top of them and then stick it onto the front of my container. So now you see you can pull it off and put it back on there, and you'll always have it handy. And then fill your bin with your medications and vitamins. And some of us might need bigger bins, by the way. But now you can read the microscopic directions and dosages on the bottles. It makes it so much easier. Just something for you sweet youngins to look forward to. Now you guys have seen me make over Dollar Tree signs hundreds of times in my crafting, and some of these are perfect just the way they are, but I'm going to be using this adorable farm to table sign and turn it into a Perky prize for Michael J's cousin Stephanie, who recently moved to Nebraska to be closer to her grandbabies. So I'm going to lift the gingham ribbon up and paint the backside with my Waverly chalk paint in white. And I want some of that brown to peek through. So while it's still a little bit wet, I'm going to rub off some of that paint to make it look a little more distressed. And then I cut out a design I made along with the first part of Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you. And I'm just going to start at the bottom and work my way up. And then I made 2 little hearts. I'm going to put one in the place of Bakersfield, California, and then I'm going to put hers in Omaha, Nebraska, and then I'll just attach those to my sign. And then I cut out a little dotted, I guess like flight path from a bee or something. I just didn't do the bee. And I just kind of stretched and finagled it on my CRICUT design space to get the 2 cities to connect. And then I'll re-glue my ribbons and add 2 black buttons just for some extra homemade cuteness. And now she has a sweet little reminder of everyone who misses her here at home. Here's another Dollar Tree sign that I'm going to repurpose, and it's kind of not really a repurposing. Well, it's still a sign, and I'm just going to give it a dual purpose. And I really love how heavy and chunky this is, and you see it's got Joshua 24:15 on it. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So I'm going to use my Lady Jane drill again, and I'll make 5 holes in the top. And this pressed board is the messiest material to cut into, so I got smart and used my messy tray. I kind of went zigzaggedy with my holes so that they weren't just all in one line, because I didn't think I would be able to do a perfect line all the way across. But I am trying to get them to be about the same depth. But my brother and sister-in-law got me these super pretty pins for my birthday, and I didn't want to just throw them in my pin drawer, so this way I can keep them on my desk and see their prettiness at all times. And they do write really well too. But you can also use this holder on your vanity in the bathroom to hold your makeup brushes. It's super functional, super cutie patootie, and we're spreading Jesus throughout the whole house. So we're going to finish up in the hardware aisle, and I found these really pretty metal drawer pulls. They had some in black and some in gold. I couldn't decide which ones to get, so I decided to get them both. So I'm going to use a sign and a little picture frame sign with this pretty little boat inside, and I'm going to take all of the stuff out of it, and then I'm going to use some of Dollar Tree's ever popular contact paper, the black and white kind. I'm going to trace around that picture. Sadly, I'm going to cover it up, but I think it's so pretty, the ship in the bottle. But anyway, I'm just going to cut around all of the sides and then replace that into my frame. So the glass is on the bottom there, or technically on the top, and then I'll close all of those little tabbies back down, and then I have this beautiful picture. I could just hang this up like it is, but I'm going to take my Hollywood and I'm going to use my drawer pull to make these the handles of this tray. So because it's so thin, I'm gonna have to just use little dowels to put inside and act as the connections or the screws, because the screws are way too long. I could have had them cut down, but not everybody has a Michael J, so I was trying to make it an easy way to make this tray but still be secure and durable. So I'm just going to take a little dowel, or skewer in this case, and push it into the holes that I drilled. And then you saw I measured to see where they would be. And then I'm just going to cut those down to the size that I need so that it'll still go into those drawer pulls, but I can put all kinds of glue and super glue in there so that they stay snug as a bug in a rug. And I'll do that on both sides. So now I have handles for my adorable little tray. So now for the other one, I'm going to use this cardstock. And remember, this was the paper that I had the leftovers from our scripture cards. But I found this decal and I thought it was so pretty. It's got some gold accents in there, so I thought this would be perfect. But on this one, I'm gonna take off that little foam rose from the sign, and then I'm just gonna use some double-sided tape to get that paper on there. And then I'm going to put it back into my frame. I actually should have put my decals on there now before I put it back in the frame, but I'll go back and do it and you'll see. Anyway, I'm going to make my little holes with my drill again, and then this time this frame is thick enough to use the screws. They'll go all the way through and into the handle, and we'll just screw those on. And then I'm going to add my pretty little decals. I love this blue. I don't have any rooms this color, but my daughter's bathroom is the pinky blush and the blue, so this went to her house, and so I think this is perfect for a little bathroom tray. Now this one you don't want to get wet because it is not covered by any glass or anything, so it's not waterproof. And then I'll use my Dollar Tree self-adhesive felt pads to put on all four corners on the bottom of both of my trays, and I use these on all of my trays in my house so they slide around when I move them. And on the blue and gold one, they lifted it just enough so that the heads of the screws don't scratch the counters. And then you can just add your pretties, and you could also use these next to your bed on a nightstand to put your rings and jewelry away. Anyway, I love these, and I hope you guys like them too. I had to say that at least one time. I hope you enjoyed these hacks, tips, and tricks, and were able to find a little inspiration for your home organization. And if you did, don't forget to give this a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think. If you're not already, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button down below, as well as the little bell right next to it, so that you can be notified every time I upload a brand new video. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and remember to always be the light. Bye.